What's up?
What up, dum dum?
Why you always call me dumb all the time, man? It's getting to me. It's like hurting my feelings.
Hmm. I'm trying to find the part of me that cares. I'm, I'm struggling with it mightily.
Man.
I do care. You're not dumb, Stu. You're just.
Oh,
It's a compliment. It's a compliment.
okay.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
You should be thanking me.
What deep thought do you have today?
So we are recording from a Airbnb B&B in Appleton, Wisconsin, awesome town, and we're at a Life and Air conference. And there's been some nuggets, man. There's been some opportunities to share, and then really to listen. And from those listening, I've gained quite a few golden nuggets. And one of them, someone was talking the other day. These people are crushing it. They're ninjas. They're doing awesome stuff, and we're new to the group, so I wasn't here when these particular group of people came in and what they've done since their initial retreat. But the other people in the room affirmed them. They're like, you guys have you've done this, this, and these people are still beating themselves up because they weren't where they wanted to be necessarily, where whatever that is. And one of the folks suggested to do a list. Not a list, but take time and consider and write out, however that is, list, whatever it is, bullet points, a narrative, however it is that you best communicate with yourself, and list all the things that you've accomplished since you started, or whatever your goals are associated with since you started pursuing those goals, to write it all down. And I thought that was really interesting. And they said, write it down and then celebrate. You'll be able to see very tangibly on paper what it is that you've done, and it'll make it so much easier. A couple of things: one, gratitudes; two, to encourage you because of how far you've come, to see the goals that you have achieved. And it was just I thought it was a really cool exercise, and it was very intentional. So something that I'm going to do for sure when we get home, because I think there's probably going to be a ton of power in that, and then encouragement to continue to push forward.
Probably for you more like encouragement to do something, because that list is probably going to be pretty short.
Yeah. No, and you're right, but at least there will be a list to build off of.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's true power to writing down what you've accomplished, because I think a lot of times, there's a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of self-doubt, and if you really write down or list out, or just think about what all you've accomplished, you probably have accomplished more than what you really think. And I think it's important to celebrate those wins. That celebration actually probably creates motivation to go further, and to push you to drive and reach bigger goals.
Yeah, one, it also could shift your self-talk.
Yeah,
right. It could shift how you perceive yourself. And there's also two other points to that. One, it can also show you the opposite of that is what you've not achieved. It can show you, and if you approach it the right way, it can show you that your goals maybe were misguided.
Yeah.
And so an example of that, a very real example for a lot of our listeners too, is there's this huge pursuit. We were talking to a guy yesterday. There's this huge pursuit for the number of doors and assets under management and these numbers, right? I need 100 doors. Okay, why do you need 100 doors? And so the guy we were talking to, he's got 10 doors. And he says oftentimes he goes to these groups of real estate investors and they're like, oh, how many doors do you have? And he's like, I've got 10. And they're kind of like, oh.
Well, I thought you were more
experienced. And he goes, well, how many doors do you have? And he said, this most recent conversation he had, the individual was like, oh, I've got 35 doors. Like, oh, that's great. How much are you cash flowing? And the guy was like, oh, about $5,000 to $7,000 a month. He goes, cool. That's awesome. He said, well, whenever you want to lower your stress and up your income, let's talk at that point. And the guy was like, what? He goes, well, my 10 doors are producing, well over $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
And so they get, it makes you think like, okay, dude with 10 doors is producing well over $10,000 a month due to 35 doors and 35 headaches, 35 additional problems. And you perceive that how you want. I perceive it as more is not better.
Better, yeah.
Yeah. More CapEx, more tenants, more whatever. but is making significantly less money to the tune of half. He has 3 times the properties, over 3 times the properties, and making less than half of what this, the guy that we're talking to is making. And so my point is, maybe it'll help you reframe those goals. It'll help you reframe like, okay, what is this pursuit of 200 doors? Like, is it because I want to go to a conference and be like, I got 200 doors and I'm awesome. I mean, one of the guys we were talking to, when he came into the group, had 87 door or close to 100 doors.
Yeah, he wanted 100 doors.
He wanted 100 doors. That was his goal. He had 87 and he was losing 10 grand a month.
Yeah.
And he said he talked to these guys and he's been selling off and reframing, and now he's on the complete opposite end of that. But you look at that swing, and he probably had a $20,000 to $25,000 swing in monthly income in very short order. And he realized his goals and the way he framed them were just wrong. And this, I think this exercise, going through these kind of exercises, the accountability, it really helps to clarify not only your goals, what you've accomplished, potentially where you're falling short and where you need to refine, but it can really hone in on that vision. And there's so much power in that.
Yeah, I think so. One of the, the action steps that we're actually going to take and, recommend, the listeners maybe do this too is, every year, you do like a goal setting retreat, or you sit down, you write your goals. Well, maybe before you write your goals for the next year, write down what you did this past year and just see, where you came, like reflect on your goals at the beginning of the year and then go through it, see what you accomplished, write down what you did. And then from there, that might be a new like starting line to then set goals for the future, for the following
That's good.
year.
Yeah. I actually, I'm kind of shocked that you came out with something.
It's a deep thought from a dumb dude.
That useful, but I didn't think of it in the terms of having it a normal part of your potentially annual battle rhythm before you make goals. Maybe see what you accomplish. That's very insightful, Stu. I'm actually,
thanks, man.
I'm almost speechless because of how what a great idea that is. But I love the idea of re-baselining your goal setting process, because then maybe your goals, I think it's awesome in that maybe the goals that you thought you were going to do, you're going to set out before you lined out the things that you accomplished would be too small.
Yeah.
And maybe you accomplish a bunch of those and you could go into that exercise being like, man, this is awesome. Or even if it's not that great feeling of I accomplished all this, be like, these are the areas, these are the very focused areas that if I improve on these things that I did not accomplish these things, I didn't accomplish these very focused areas that I just identified through this process, this will put me to the next level. Mm-hmm. And this will bring much greater fulfillment or give me, the drive and the focus and the target for the next year or it's 90 days, 6 months in a year. So I think it's awesome. I'm going to incorporate that.
Sweet. All right. Well, hey, celebrate wins, write down what you've done, reflect on that, and don't be dumb. But if you are dumb, have some deep thoughts.
And if you're deep, don't be dumb. And you're dumb. But that was deep and that was good. I like it.
So I'm not so dumb.
No, you are. You're dumb.
Oh.
Take action. Go get it. See ya. Peace.